An ad come up for Google Pixel 8.
Nice.
Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Viewers, comments and questions live. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Hope you've all had a spectacular weekend. The weather in the UK has been nothing short of glorious.
Bonkers, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
Bonkers. I was mowing the lawn yesterday. Oh, hello, Rosie. Oh,
Come on,
see, now that's
try
not very
again.
good, is it?
There you go. Good girl.
I was mowing the lawn yesterday at like 5 p.m, which is way too late to be mowing in October.
Right.
It was 20 degrees.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Balmy.
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 Indeed, balmy. Right, dog. We got the spaniel tonight, obviously, as you can see. Catherine's away, visiting her
Visiting
mother.
mother.
Yes. Where, Dan?
I want to say...
I know what you want to say.
I want to say Crete.
Yeah, always say Crete. You always
But
say
it's
Crete.
Cyprus.
It's Corfu.
It's Corfu.
How long have we known you, Dan? How long have we known each other?
Yeah, well, let's see.
It's literally not retained information, is it?
I've never been.
Everyone else does it as well. When
Right.
you say, where does she live? Always Crete.
Crete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Cyprus. Corfu. So, hello, Bebbers, if you're watching. And hello to everyone. Welcome to That Pedal Show viewers, comments and questions. We do this pretty much every Monday. Rosie, I'm going to have to get you something to chew in a minute,
Come on,
aren't
Come on.
I?
Hey, come on.
I'm a bit overexposed today.
There you go. I think it looks spectacular.
Yeah. A little bit over, I reckon. Well,
Can you see the people? Can you see the people? Look.
Shouldn't
It's
be.
the people. It's the people. It's the people. I know, beautiful girl.
Yeah, welcome from wherever you're watching in the world. Let's do a quick roll call, shall we? See who's on tonight. Big thanks to BV for moderating as always.
Yes, BV. Thank you, buddy.
Actually, who is texting me, hopefully not to say, can't hear or see you. No.
It's all good.
Yeah. We'll be closing the super chats very shortly. Given that we have enough... Oh dear, that's not good.
Wasn't good? Oh no. Everything's fallen over, Rosie. Rosie, sing the people a song. Because it still says we're on air. Technology. Let's do the technology blues, Rosie. Nick woke up one morning.
Let us know if we're still on. The computer says we're not. Hello from Hawthorne, California. Springfield, MO, Missouri maybe, says Martin Jones.
Whoa, Springfield.
And Hawthorne, California was Robert Iboy.
Yes.
Right, let's get you something to eat. Not dead, says Chris in Nottingham. Hello, Chris Warburton. Good luck for you, mate. Woof to that pedal dog from Marin County, California, says G Barge. Hi, G.
Hey, G.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, no, too much. Too much.
We're testing the limiters. Yes. Rosie, do you want to have a play?
Yeah, I think it'll work.
Forward.
That's a bit worrying that the
limiter's not catching it.
machine says we're not. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain the people.
Yeah, just make sure we're on, can you?
Yeah. Let's see.
That is obviously not very happy at all.
Let's see.
Before I do
Well,
this.
I can still see. It's still saying that. Yeah, it's still playing the ad. Let's see. Doc News says hello from South Florida. Woof, indeed. Woof. Whoa. Let's see. Did you hit any decibels?
Right.
No, we're still on. We're still on. It's all happening. Robert Payne here watching from South Wales again. Bless you, mate. Was in Wales yesterday visiting my daughter at Cardiff University. And they shot the M4 on the way home, and it was a whole lot of fun. Angus McLennan says, that's a whole lot of Rosie. Yeah, she really pushes the DB when she wants to. She's great. Judge Fred says, loud and clear in Chicago. Thanks, buddy. Let's see. Shahorza says, hello from the south of Israel. G'day, mate. Hope you're all doing okay. Sean Gerolimatos. Good here. Thank you. Great. Now we're all live and on the air. Everything is groovy.
Right, not in here, Rosie. Come on, bring your bone.
Good girl. Go on. Good girl. Where's Daddy? Wow. Okay. Gile Strat says, hello from Lima, Peru. Wow, very nice. Chris Sorensen, hi from Denver, Colorado. Matt Swanson, greetings from Massachusetts. What's the Massachusetts song?
The lights go down in Massachusetts, is it?
Down in Massachusetts. That's it. Beautiful.
By Balls, isn't it?
Right.
What's his name? Balls.
With his good friend. I've done that gag too many times before. Ed Balls and his good friend Richard Wyman together. They are Wyman and Ed.
What? What?
So Ed Balls,
right,
and his mate Dick Wyman. And
I
together
see.
they are
Yes.
Ed and Wyman.
Yeah, a bit like the old Gretsch gag, wasn't it? This is going so badly. So badly. Let's just give it up. Okay, I'm going to turn the super chats off because we have enough to get through. Thank you everyone who's super chatted to this point. Sorry for the so slow start. Technology plus Spaniel plus me and Dan equals no chance, mate. Yeah.
Martin Westercott says, greetings from sunny Devon. Devon, you were in Devon a little while ago, weren't you?
I was, to get your guitar.
Retrieving my guitar. Which was this guitar here.
Which got its first proper outing on Friday's show.
It's really interesting. 99.99% of people loved it. There was one gentleman that has an issue with Jags. And he was like, why would you buy a Jag when you could buy any other guitar? And I don't know why I'm focusing on that one, but it was really interesting. And I said to the gentleman, I have not stopped playing this guitar since I've got it. It is the most inspirational new guitar I've ever had.
It's really brilliant.
I am
and you
over the
properly
moon
love
with
it.
this. I properly do.
Doesn't it just... It underlines the point that you really do have to play it, because we had a Jaguar before, an American Jaguar, that, all right, doesn't have Johnny's electronic mods, but is still a Jag, right? It's still 24-inch scale. It has the same trem, more or less the same pickups. I mean, it's not like a Strat that's got two humbuckers and a Floyd versus a traditional Strat. And yet, you didn't bond with that guitar
at all,
but no. You've really bonded with this one. And that could be the opposite, right, for you. So you might really bond with the one we traded, but you might not bond with this one.
Yeah.
And I just find that endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, it is endlessly fascinating, and there is no substitute for getting your hands dirty, which is what we always say, because you never know until you try. And, I had a revelation at when we were at Johnny Marr's, playing a couple of his old Jags, and then picked up his signature Jag. And I was like, the first thing that got me was the neck. Yeah. It was just the neck on that is fantastic. Nice. Isn't it beautiful?
Got that increasing depth thing that we both like about certain vintage Fenders.
Yeah. And I really connected with it. And then Michael surprised me with this one. He went down to Devon. Took you, 8 hours to get back or something ridiculous? That's love.
Yeah. But yeah, had an outing on the show on Friday where it was a good old-fashioned pedal show. We just went through a ton of pedals, asking a few specific questions. And it sounded killer. It just sounded great.
Yeah.
Just really, really lovely sounding thing.
I'm in deep smit.
Good. All right. Let us get going with the super chats then. Thank you to anyone who's super chatted. We've got quite a few to get through. First in this week is Iron Wolf 1776. And I believe Thorpe has already answered this question. You gents are good friends with Thorpe and Pete, says Iron Wolf 76. So why not suggest a mod or a version of the Dane with a switch to reorder the drive and boost? This has come about because, despite I should really know this, I was surprised that the boost came before the drive in the Dane, because Dan and I always do it the other way around. Well, not always, but sometimes do it all the way around. But that's as Thorpe has explained in the reply, that's the way Pete likes it, so that's the way it is. And of course, that's the way we like it sometimes as well. And what we ended up with was one either side. So maybe Thorpe, there's a Great Dane in there.
But Danish Pete did email or send a message the other day. Sorry, I'm suppressing a burp because it's going to be really loud. Bless him. And he said, anytime for a Pete Danish sandwich would be fantastic.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Dan burping has reminded me of something. If you do need a drink, a receptacle to put your drink in to help you burp, we've got these really nice Chili's water bottles in this lovely brushed finish.
It's so nice. Look at that.
Etched on there. I don't know if this is a 500. Yeah, it is a 500 millilitres. So you could get a whole big can of Stella in there.
Nice.
Or indeed water, if water's your thing. Anyway, they're on that Pedal Show store right now. Sorry, we're doing a bit of advertising because been a bit slow, the old store.
Right.
And if the store goes really slow, me and Dan have to get jobs, which isn't ideal. Well, he's already got one. I have to get a job, and I really don't want to do that. So we've also got new sticker packs.
Oh, these are lovely.
Hayden's been making the sticker packs today.
Bless him.
With 5 stickers. These are the stickers.
Right, what do we got? Nice, classic.
That Pedal Show in very sort of stealth
Very
colourway.
nice. Very nice. Oh, look at that.
A valve.
Yeah.
A statement of intent.
Indeed.
A vintage Sunburst logo.
Oh, I like that. That's very nice.
And our new favourite, which we're calling that pedal box.
That's fantastic.
Really good. Really good. Designed by a new friend of ours, Thomas Bannon, who sent in a design that we did a deal on. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
For that. So yeah, sticker packs, water bottle, and finally I shall tout my wares by showing you these highly stylish tote bags, also with the that pedal box on. Should you be walking down the King's Road wishing to look terribly stylish.
Oh, they're very nice. And they're printed on both sides, I see.
Both sides.
Look at that.
Not just one side.
No, that's
but both
bad.
sides.
Very
Look at
good.
that. Two
Look at that.
colourways. We've called this one, even though it's slightly pink, we've called this one Sonic Candy.
I like that. That's very good.
And we've called this Black and Orange. So there you go. That Pedal Show store for all your goods. It's nearly the festive time of the year.
That's going to be here before you know it. I think we leave for Australia, and now literally under 2 months. It was
Awesome.
2 months yesterday. So cannot wait.
I'm going to add to the Thorpe. I'm going to add to the Thorpe comment, who says, in order to swap it around, it would mean a total rebuild in the Dane. So,
Yeah.
not an easy job. Anyway, I think that all sort of got a bit out of hand. It was just a off-the-cuff comment, really. Now everyone's got a bit about it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, right.
Right.
James Blessed. Hello, James. As the seasons change with darker days, it can be a challenging time for some people. I would just like to say that TPS is a beacon of light and never fails to lift my mood. Thank you for all you do.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice
oh,
one,
thank you,
James.
bud. That's
We feel
lovely.
the same. This will be Catherine moaning at me because I've done something wrong. Oh no, she said, well done. Sorry, Bebbers. Now I feel bad, obviously.
Okay.
Thank you, James. Hopefully that gave you a laugh. Sorry, I've been running like 90 minutes behind all day today.
Right.
And everything that should have happened 90 minutes ago is happening now. So I'm behind.
Okay.
Which, when you're on the back foot, you can either just get off the back foot and get on with it, or you can just moan about it, which is what I've been doing all day.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, so there we are. Chris Quinn. Hi, Chris. He says, what's your take on how the TPS community fits into a healthy social life? We don't know each other personally, although it can feel that way at times. TPS is very important to me, but so is perspective.
So is perspective?
Yeah, but so is perspective.
So very interesting. It's actually a question.
Yeah, okay, I think I understand the question.
Yeah. Well, you tell me if I've got this right. We are very honoured and proud to have seen this community form around what we do. And it's something that we love dearly. It's something that we're very, I don't know if protective is the right word, but we want to look after it and nurture it and encourage it in any way that we possibly can. So one of the things that we started doing was experience days to try and, because for most of the time, 99% of the time, Mick and I are in this room with a camera. We don't get to see people. We haven't done a TPS gig for over a year, but we're looking to change that. But one of the things that we want to do is something called TPS Fest, where we can all get together and hang out. And I love the idea of members of the community coming together. I think it's really powerful. I just think, especially at the moment, we all just feel so isolated. And I just think it'd be wonderful on this digital platform if we can actually get a whole bunch of us together and hang out. I think that would be really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, we take a step in that direction by doing experience days, and that was a big driver in doing the experience days. I think your actual question, Chris, is saying that if you get too heavily invested in the TPS community and you spend too much time online and not enough time with the perspective of, being among real stuff. And again, that was a huge part of the inspiration for doing our experience days, to actually be in a physical space with people making physical noise as opposed to just this digital thing. So yeah, for sure, perspective is important. I know, laughingly, I try and have analog weekends, right? So as little phone time as possible and actually hanging out with humans and doing human things. And that's a lovely bit of perspective, out walking the spaniel. Who's just had a lamb rib.
She's just eaten that whole thing.
Yeah, because I didn't have any BONEs, so hopefully that will go down okay. So yeah, perspective is always important. Dan and I were just discussing this earlier, I think, and this question comes up repeatedly in today's question, so I had a quick flick through. I think if you're of a certain age, and I don't want to put a number on it, but so Dan and I were kids in the 70s, right? Born in the 70s, and kids in the 70s and 80s. We saw the beginning of the internet. We existed a long time before it, and we saw the birth of social media. Rosie,
come on, darling.
Come on, out there.
Good girl.
And we've been, lucky enough to sort of live through that and make our living off it, if you like. But we've also seen... You just need to calm down.
Okay. Sorry.
We're also understanding a little bit about the negative side of it, and that's what you're talking about, I think, with the perspective and all of that. So...
No.
Oh... You will. I'll put you out, Rosie. You might have to go in the car.
Good girl. Come on.
Perspective. Of course, perspective. And that involves being with humans, playing music with humans, trying to go to gigs doing all the stuff that you would do rather
Yeah.
than spending your whole time looking at a screen. I said to Dan, I wasn't joking earlier, I think it won't be long before they say that social media was more destructive to humankind than smoking, other things that have been really bad for humans.
How is this for?
I'm very negative about it.
How is this for a statistic? And this ties into being together. If you're a male and you smoke a pack a day, but have friends,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
your life expectancy is the same as someone who doesn't smoke
Yeah,
but has no friends.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Isn't that is mind blowing?
Yeah.
But that shows you how important that is. Rosy posy.
One more and you're out of here.
Come on, pretty girl.
No barking.
Yeah, I find that really, really interesting. And so, for that reason, you know,
Go on, sit.
sit. You know, it's like Mick has been instrumental. Our friendship has been instrumental in my life, and that, you know, for the longest time, certainly over the past in the TPS years, and you know, my hope for everyone out there is that you have a friend like I have in Mick, because it's so healthy, and I think that one of the things about TPS community, and we see it on experience days, being into this stuff, being able to pick up a guitar and play something that means something to you, having that experience, right? If you've never had that experience, you can't explain it to someone. But if you have, like when the experience day people get here, that's a lot to have in common with someone. And instantly, it's like we bring everyone into the studio after this. We have to do a quick tour, and we bring everyone into the studio, and then we play at the volumes that we record in, and we get some sounds up from our own rigs, and everyone is like, it's really wonderful, right? And then they all get to have a go, and you can see everyone's willing everyone to have that experience where they feel connected, and it's a really wonderful thing. And if you haven't had that experience, how do you explain it to someone? I think that's part of the thing that binds us all together. And it's whether you're playing metal or country, or it doesn't matter the genre. It's just that experience of picking up a guitar and feeling something.
Sold the dog.
You sold the dog?
Yeah.
Did you get much for her? That's a magic beans.
Only what she's worth. Which is everything, by the way. Yeah, sorry, mate. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that playing guitar and feeling something is a lot to have in common with someone. And I think it's something that you can't explain to someone that hasn't experienced that. It's why, you know, my closest friends are still the guys I was in my first band with, you know, and when you share that experience with people, man, it's so bonding. So, you know, we'd love to do events and get everyone together and hang out. It'd just be wonderful.
Yeah, more human time. I'd modify my comment about social media before. It's not social media that's the problem, it's our relationship with it that's the problem. Yeah. So the good news about that is that we have the choice to change it if we want to, once we understand that we are able to make those kind of changes. But anyway. And of course, if there was no social media, we wouldn't be doing this. So there we are.
Yeah.
Steve Cassidy says, it amazes me how many people I know who don't have a passion in their life. I can't imagine not having music or playing. Yeah, or maybe they do, but you just don't quite know what it is. Maybe it's figurines of toy soldiers that they paint, or where did that come from? Was you talking about Dungeons and Dragons earlier?
Andy Partridge does a lot of that,
right?
Painting toy figurines and stuff, and he builds board games and stuff from scratch. He's like super creative. Yeah,
it could be cooking food, could be whatever it is. Hopefully not golf, but you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Joke, by the way. Okay, right, let's move along. Same with us, Chris. TPS is extremely important to us for obvious reasons. But yeah, perspective 2.
Yeah.
Matt McGrath. Hello, Matt. No
Hello,
question.
Matt.
Just saying thanks. Great show on Friday and looking forward to the new and quick format. TPS still has the best tangents in the business. Yeah, I just finished putting together 2. We've done Does the Noble Screamer Sound Like Mix TS808 and a ODR1, and Does the J Rocket the Jeff Sound Like Mix Clon? We'll do some that aren't about my pedals soon, but yeah, they work pretty well actually.
Good.
Be interested to hear what you think about them when you see them, because they're only like 12 minutes long, so pretty short for TPS and relatively to the point.
Sending love out to Chris Warburton. He says this keeps his cancer depression at bay. Hope you're feeling okay, mate, and sending lots of love out to you. Yeah. That's,
I hope you're doing all right, Chris. Sorry, I was smiling. I might have felt like an inappropriate smile. I was smiling at your memory of you being here for our experience days when we were in here jamming was what I was smiling at.
Right. Yeah. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
It is. That's living.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. That's the good stuff.
Yeah. Be better, mate.
Yeah.
Sam Webster. Mick, I think we veer towards similar tones. If all you could ever play was a 65 Deluxe Reverb, would you change the speaker? Is a better life possible?
Great question.
Yeah, I've never tried a different. I like the sound of ours with the stock speaker. Like, people swear by different speakers.
Do people put EVs in them?
Don't know. I don't think one would fit, but
okay.
Would be interesting to try. I know some people say they like more British sounding speakers, so various different Celestians. I bet gold would sound cracking in there. I really like the sound of it as it is.
And because we've used that amp quite a lot, it's sounding better and better.
Yeah, because the speaker's been, every experience day, it gets turned up to 10 for a significant proportion of the day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, wonderful.
I just thought about it because my 2-rock tends to get played most of the day on experience days as well, so it's just hammering for hours. And I think that's helped that amp really settle in on the cabinet and everything.
Yeah. I don't know if I haven't seen if Gordon's on, but maybe he can help explain that process of soaking or burning in an amplifier and what it actually does, whether it's aligning stuff in the amplifier. I mean, obviously we know that the speaker will wear in, but it's the same thing with pickups and valves and it just seems that once it's been, there's a big difference between when you first get it going and then a few years later once you've had it. There's definitely changes that happen in that structure.
Yeah. Maybe somebody could explain it. Elwood von Blackmore says, how do you feel about Strats with big headstocks, Mick? Why are they so hard to come by? They're not hard to come by. This is a 1970 guitar that I bought off Ainsley Lister. Strat headstock got bigger in 1966. It is said so that you could get a bigger logo on it. I don't know if that's actually true or not. Why else would you make it bigger? I
don't know, but I prefer the sound of the big headstock.
Go to the back of the class now. Yeah, Dan's not alone in that. Does it make the guitar sound different? Potentially. Changes the mass distribution down the neck. Neck's extremely important to how a guitar sounds if you buy into all of that. It started off with a gold logo that you couldn't really see very well, and then it changed to this black logo, 68 maybe, something like that. And this is a 70. This is in Fender lineage relatively unusual, given that it's got a 4-bolt neck, no bullet truss rod, so it's got all the spec of a mid-60s Strat, but with a big headstock. Fat too, they got fatter.
Oh yeah, big thick thing. It's the same thing with the 65. It's so much fatter than the new ones with the telly.
Yeah. So Eric Johnson and John Mayer, for example, insist on thin headstock
on
their Strats. I I don't know what difference it makes. They're not hard to come by. Fender has done various bigger ones, 70s reissues. Also, there was an American series, American Special maybe, which had a big headstock. There's quite a few Squires that have it, so they're not hard to come by. Depending on where you live, that is, of course. Depending on where you live. But yeah, no, I being something of a vintage snob, for years I wouldn't countenance one. In fact, I had a 70s reissue Strat which I cut the headstock down and reshaped it.
Wow.
Because I was so anti the big headstock. I've grown up since then and I've come to love them very dearly.
Yeah.
Very dearly.
Did the Jags ever have smaller headstocks?
No.
They've always been this
I
big.
believe so.
Okay. And what year did the Jags? And
62.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Jag was born in 62, wasn't it? Please put me... Jazzmaster 58, Jag 62. I think. The logo, I don't know if the logo changed at all. It might have done. Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah, because there's Jags with the spaghetti logo, for sure.
Where was it? Someone was asking, oh, that's a nice Jag. Yes, this is a Johnny Marr Jag. It's absolutely glorious.
Yeah. What do we think of Jag, says Frank Schuler. Well, before he got that, we didn't think that much because we didn't really know that much, but he's in love with that one.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Gav Thorpe, who came up, and there's a chap called Gav Thorpe, we swapped our JTM 45 for a Bluesbreaker combo, and he brought a 62, I think, Jag. It was fantastic.
Right.
It was another world.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, why not? Also, borrowing a Ricky. A very nice viewer got in touch and said, I got a Ricky, you could borrow 330 if you want. To which I said, yes, absolutely. Can we lend you something in return? So we're going to do that. So we're going to have a black 330 for a minute.
Okay, it's not here.
No, I haven't organised it yet. This is all spurred on, of course, by spending the day with Johnny Marr. Show's coming out not next Friday, but the Friday after, where Johnny played his Jag all day and he played his Ricky quite a lot, and it was like,
335.
That's how it's supposed to sound.
Yeah.
So
and Johnny was just handing the guitars around, and I just was playing Jags and discovering a world I'd never known, and certainly never thought a Jag could deliver these sorts of things, and I was just blown away.
And for all those people who go, I told you so.
Yeah,
It doesn't all happen at once. You know, you need to discover things in your own time, don't you?
Yeah.
And that way they have more meaning, I think.
Chris Sorensen says, Dan, how does the Jag feel as a tally player? It is such a great question. Sorry, we'll get back to the super chats in a second, but because of the big headstock and because of the shorter scale, it feels slinkier. It feels more stratish because obviously you've got the belly cut and the arm cut, so it's a lot more comfortable to play. But there's something about it still rocks. That bridge pickup on it still goes bah, in just the right way.
Yeah.
So
You're not struggling with the scale or anything.
I love it. It's so easy.
What strings have you got on there?
Big boys.
But I mean, only 11s though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 11s over a 24.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really simple.
It's basically 9.5, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Right. The last Jag that we had, American vintage.
American original.
American original. The neck had binding on it, and the binding was like bright white, and I just didn't get on with it. But yeah, as soon as I picked up Johnny's, just the neck, it's the closest to a vintage neck on a new guitar that I've ever felt. It just, when you pick up an old guitar that feels right, this feels right. And I didn't have to sit down like with Red. It took years to play that in, and I just sit down with this instantly, and I'm like just so in love with it. So yeah, as a tally player, it's definitely it's a different vibe, but I'm really loving it. I'm loving the different vibe.
It's complementary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very complementary to a telly, I would say, tonally, because you have that brightness that we would associate with a telly. It's not like going from a bright guitar with a lot of air and spring, for want of better technical terms, to something fairly closed in, like an EMG loaded Schecter or something, which sounds relatively dead in comparison.
Or going from my telly and putting the Les Paul in, and then everything's like mid-range in, which is really cool.
Yeah,
but this is
they're close family, aren't they? Rather than
and it's wonderful.
Neighbours. Yeah. Rodrigo Gaspari, hi Rodrigo. He says, Legends suggestion, a lesson or tips vlog style video from Mick, like Dan did, but on some blues stuff, licks or even better technique. I love how you sound, and it would be nice for you to do one of these. Bet I'm not alone. That's kind of you, Rodrigo. You're not the only person to suggest that.
Yeah, not least of all.
I'd need to find somebody to translate, I think, because I don't mean to be overly self-effacing about it. I don't know anything about playing the guitar in terms of how to describe it, really. So,
yeah, you do. You do.
You have to do it in a way that makes sense to the people watching, so you can physically get something from it. And I have discussed a few times, it would be interesting as a conversation, because the person that you're doing it with could decode it.
Well, do it with me. I'd love to find out how you do that stuff. I'd love to see if it's even possible for someone like myself, from a Telecaster perspective, to see if there's any way to cross over some of that stuff.
Yeah, because Dan would ask a lot of the stuff I would do without thinking, and the minute I think about it, I can't do it anymore. Dan would have relevant questions to ask that might make more sense. Yeah, maybe.
I would love to do that show. I really would.
We could try it. Yeah, we could try it. Might be a nice series. Get a few people in, do it with them. What could you? Because I don't know about you guys, but I haven't done a great deal of guitar learning in my life. And any time I've done any extended learning, so gone away on a week's course or actually sat through a whole True Fire course, it's like vertical curve and new plateau. Learn so much in a short amount of time and changes your playing forever. And just picking up 2 or 3 things.
Totally,
so
absolutely.
It doesn't have to be like the whole kitchen sink.
Yeah.
It could just be a fork. God, what? What? Thanks for the suggestion, Rodrigo. Robert Jones, hey Rob, he was here last week. He says, hi D&M and the rest of the TPS crew. I didn't get a chance to message last week about how much I enjoyed the experience day. It was great to see you all again. New pedal day, Walrus Audio Deep 6 compressor. Sounds ace.
Nice.
We
Very
did.
good.
We went through a few compressors with Rob. He was thinking about a Cali 76 and has gone Walrus.
Nice.
Interested to see how you get on, mate. Joe Halliday. Hello, Sailor. Hi, Joe. Really nice to hear from you. Oh, mate, thanks for your generosity. Your continued generosity is thank you.
Thank you.
He says, hello, guys. Much love. Mick, are you progressing your mental health pod, POD, period of discovery? Yeah. I'm a trim leader and practitioner. A few incidents I've been involved in have changed my views with mental health. It will be interesting to hear your insights. Thank you, Joe, and thanks for asking the question. I don't want to bang on it about it too much because I've talked about it a lot and it's important to talk about it, but I don't want to bore all the people who want to talk about guitar pedals. I feel very lucky that I was able to have a view. Well, it starts as a glimpse of what's going on in your head and how it's destructive, and then I ended up reading a bunch of books which helped sort of put together a jigsaw puzzle, if you like, of stuff that was a bit philosophical, maybe even spiritual, you might say, but not in a religious sense. There's stuff that was a little more practical, logic, critical thinking type stuff. And there's a tiny bit of stuff that's even a bit more science-based. As Dan knows, I'm no big fan of science. But in general, it's always wrong in the end, right? So, it is.
Um,
And it's the point. It's subject to all the same biases and heuristics that non-science is. It just takes a little longer to discover it. So, but anyway, nevertheless, there's been a lot of very valuable psychological work that's been done that is good work, you know, very valuable science. So starts off as a glimpse, and then in time you get a much clearer view of the processes by which you're making bad choices. And then what I've been able to do is make fewer bad choices. And
that's nice.
That has had a exponentially improving effect on my general state of mental health.
Right.
And I've said this before and I'll say it again. We talk about physical health all the time in positive terms. So we say, oh, I went to the gym today, or I went running today, or Dan does his grappling on the floor with other men. Dan does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And all of it, and we talk about it in a completely positive sense because it is a way in which we practice something to keep our physical health in better shape. The second you start saying that about mental health, that you're doing a few things to keep your mental health in better shape, there are a number of people, thankfully much less than there were, who think you're some kind of weirdo or you're going to have a breakdown at any moment.
So interesting, isn't it?
But what could be more natural and normal than doing things to maintain a good state of of mental health? And that is, for me, walking the dog.
You do that every day. Stop at 7, rain, hail or shine.
Pretty much.
3 kilometres every day.
Yeah,
Lovely.
and then some earlier
some,
than that,
yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, dog gets significant amount of walk time, fresh air. You know, there's all kinds of research and science that talks about the good effects of light, oxygen, hydration, right? All this really simple stuff, physiologically and mentally. So that happens, and then just some stuff where, how can I say this quickly? Recognizing when you start to think about making poor choices, and then turning in the other direction. And that's been a lot of work. So thanks for asking, Joe. It's it's been transformative.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly transformative. And it's an ongoing process. And I feel very lucky to have sort of stumbled into it, for want of a better term. I think what happens for a lot of people is you get to a point of crisis and then you have a choice. And a lot of people who've had the turnaround, it's been in that point of where you just like, oh, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. And so.
Joshua Schreiber is said, as a mental health clinician, I cannot express how much I appreciate what you are sharing. There has been too much stigma for far too long.
Thank you, Joshua. Again, I feel very lucky to have been born in the time that we were born because, you know, generations past, you couldn't talk about this stuff, or it was much harder to talk about stuff. I mean, I remember my ex-employer being essentially kind of warned off talking about any of this because it wouldn't go well for you. Yeah, and I think that's still common in some companies, but it was certainly common back then, you know, in the 90s, that it just wasn't talked about. So we are talking about it more.
Yeah, very good.
Which is good. Yeah, and as a clinician, thank you for your work, Joshua. I think it's going to be, read the comment earlier about social media, I think it's going to be an exponentially growing field of work in the next 25 years.
Zootalola says, hi guys, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Oh mate, it's been incredible. We had Jimmy Page was in, but he stopped in to pay me back that tenner that he owed me. Who else did he miss?
Knopfler came in.
Yeah, it's been. He has to watch it on the repeat.
Yeah,
so
Clapton was going to come in, but
he just said, "Look, we're full up, mate.
His Ferrari's broken down again.
We'll call you."
Matt Miller, hello Matt. He says, other than the Lollas you chose, are there any other P90s you suggest? just picked up an olive drab Casino. Nice.
Wow,
That's a cool
lovely.
guitar. Depending on where you are in the world, I would certainly look at Monty's. Some stuff makes more sense in the UK and Europe because of, well, no, not Europe. Some stuff makes more sense in the UK because of shipping and VAT. Some things make more sense in the US because of shipping and VAT. Europe's a whole other ballgame. But if you cross any of those borders with produce, quite often you have to pay VAT and loads of other shipping, which might make it much less possible. God, it's so boring. So depending on your locale, if it makes sense to buy Monty's, we recommend Matt's stuff all day of the week. Sun Bear, if you can get hold of any, exceptional. Know a few people who play those. But there's so many good makers out there, and it almost feels wrong to just single some out, because a bit like with guitars, at some point you've just got to make a choice and get on with it, which isn't very helpful, but you can tear your hair out going through endless pickups just to get to the point of going, yeah, these sound okay.
Indeed.
Sorry, is that a bit grumpy?
No, not at all.
It can be thankless going through loads of pickups, as I found out doing my Strat.
Yeah, it's because it's a big job.
Yeah.
Just to get to the point. Restringing alone is a job, but taking the whole thing apart.
It's that bit I don't mind so much. It's the kind of, do I like these more?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
And then I pick up that old guitar and it's like, oh,
that's it.
That's what it should sound like.
Yeah.
But yeah. Or just get Lollas, because
never.
I flipping love them.
Yep. I've never played a guitar with Lollas in that I haven't gone, oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Jason makes extraordinary stuff.
George Skelly says he likes OX4s.
Yep. I've got a set
Dan's
of OX4s in my Les Paul.
Humbuckers in his Les Paul, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I just saw a comment from Rowan Rainbow. He says, "G'day from Canberra, Australia. Working from home, walking my retriever, and best mate Sully is the best." That's awesome. There's a wonderful pickup manufacturer in Australia, and the name will come to me in a second, but for years they've been doing this version of their version of hum cancelling pickups, and they've got a patent on this, the way they do it. And when doing some work for James Bay, and who loves a P90, it's just because of the lights and everything, the way P90s pick up hum, there was just having a nightmare. I said, you've got to try some of these, and which solve the problem. And I will tell you who they are in a second.
While you look for that, we'll say hello to John Bentley. Hi, John. John also joined us last Friday for an experience day. He says, "Hey, Mick. Hey, Dan. Thanks again for the experience day. Had a great time." He says, "Mick, I've ordered the Analog Man Fuzzy recommended. Cool. Hope you enjoy that, mate. Did Eli like the photo of my 2-rock wedged in my car?" You've reminded me I need to send it to him. John's got one of those cars where they put the engine in the wrong end. One of those German cars.
Amazing.
One of those flash German cars where they put the engine in the wrong end.
Yeah.
So in the end where the engine should be, he's got a 2-rock.
Amazing.
I took a picture of it to send to Eli, so it's great to meet you, John.
Yeah, mate, it was brilliant. That was a great day. Yes, thanks everyone. Chris Kinman. And he's been making pickups for a long time.
I had some of his Strat pickups.
And they're really, really great. But his hum cancelling P90s are spectacular. Really, really good.
I secretly coveted John's car in a big way, by the way.
It's not secret anymore.
No. Electronics is a science, so it's not always wrong, says Clef Turner. Yeah, I'm sure there are scientific things we can point to that are truths. They usually involve maths. In fact, they always involve maths, because the only truth is maths.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah. Everything else is interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interpretation of data. I've started saying data instead of data.
Well done.
Because I used to getting picked up on it all the time.
Yeah. Eric Bristow. Jockey Wilson.
Bristow gravy.
Darters.
What was Dexy's Midnight Runners were doing Top of the Pops, and they said, you know how they do that live thing, and it says Jackie Wilson says, and they put a picture of Jockey Wilson
yeah.
behind them.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
There's a band I play with every now and again, and the bass player Steve. It always Jockey Wilson says on the set list, always, and it always makes me laugh.
Brilliant. Love it.
In fact, he's called Steve Wilson, but it's not that Steve Wilson.
There was a lot of love for that show, and I was really heartened by, because that was the format for that show was actually Stephen's suggestion.
I gathered as much.
Yeah. And I thought it was so lovely that he would want to share that.
Yeah.
You know, it was really great. And
Well, he's probably also thinking, God, I don't want to sit there for an hour talking about nothing with him. We have to actually achieve something.
yeah, and he came up with a corker.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It was really good. It was really good, and really, really great to just hang out
Yeah, it was lovely.
with
Nico.
Nico. Sorry, I had a brain fart there.
Yeah.
With Nico too, who is a lovely guy, by the way.
He's just a beautiful human. I went and saw them last. I think I told you guys, but I went and saw Nico and Stephen at their album listening at Hackney, and Stephen and Nico played, and Steve was on analog synths.
Awesome.
And Nico was playing, and far out, man, his sound was immense.
Better than the rubbish we dialed up for him here, is that what
Well,
you're saying?
he had a new board, and he had Brunetti on stage, and it was like,
nice.
oh, there it is.
Did you do his board for him then?
No, he threw an Atom on there, and he had it wired up, and I helped him just, with some suggestions, but he knew exactly what he wanted to achieve. He's one of those guys who's got a really great technical understanding of things as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he played his butt off. I took Doug to the gig.
Yeah.
And Doug was blown away by Nico. It was really wonderful.
Awesome.
Really great night.
Tone Dragon. Hello, Tone Dragon. He says, leggings. Mick, do you still hook up your TTE Tube Tape Echo by Fulltone? Dan, are you still using the Meris LVX? I'm lucky enough to own both. Thank you for everything you do. I do, actually, from time to time. It's a unique sounding thing. We've got some studio shenanigan going on at the moment where we're trying to... I borrowed some stuff off a very dear friend called Gareth, who's lent us some insanely cool analog outboard to try and get our front end completely analog, right?
Another beautiful, ridiculously talented human.
Using some... So he's got a studio in Metropolis. Went to see him to pick the gear up, and he's playing me some stuff. I'm like, oh my God, it just sounds so good. So good. So it's very inspiring hanging out with Gareth, and he's lent us some nice analog pre's and some EQs just to see if we like that. The point of saying that is I've got this little dream of having the TTE and a couple of other really cool things as outboard. And something occurred to me which I haven't suggested to you yet.
Okay.
So G3's got stereo input now, right?
Yeah. And the Atom, yeah.
Most people use a patch bay in a studio,
Right.
where all your stuff's plugged into the patch bay, and then on the front you change the cables around to patch the stuff in your aux sends and returns to use on buses. Not like, I'll get you back, not that kind of bus. But
you're on fire today. It's beautiful.
yeah, not that kind of bus. And I thought, hang on, G3 would work brilliantly in that environment.
Yeah, right.
Because the pedals I want to use as outboard are the CXM,
Yep.
the TTE, maybe some kind of stereo delay like, I don't know, the Future Factory or something like that. And rather than go through all the hassle of having to de-crap it off my pedal board, it could actually just run as outboard off a bus using G3 as the router.
Yeah.
As long as I can go stereo in and out.
Absolutely.
So my next question is it balanced in and out? Probably not.
Well, it's just a direct parallel in and out.
Okay. It's just whether it would need to be balanced or not for the noise to be low. I mean, there's no noise playing at flipping 100 watt through a valve amp, so
Yeah, there wouldn't be because it'd be
because
low
all the grounds are sorted.
it'd be low impedance from there anyway.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have any issues.
Yeah, and it would be line level, but
Yeah.
then that's fine for G3. Just about the pedals.
It's just only if the pedals can take it or not. But
I'm totally going to try that, and we'll make a vlog about it.
yeah,
Because I was thinking about a patch bay, I was like, oh no, it's too much hassle. It's just way too much hassle for someone who's not really au fait with that world. I might try it.
Let's try it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then you could do G3 for studios. Just change the input ins and outs for XLRs, and you could have G3 Studio.
Oh, that's interesting. And put it in a rack.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you
I
go.
think that could work.
I'll have it done next week.
Difference with a patch bay, of course, is that you could have multiple buses. This would have to be on one bus, but that's all right. The other thing that Gareth does, which is amazing, is he adds hardly anything post. So everything he captures is
perfectly.
is the sound that needs to end up on there. So all the wet effects, all the modulations, everything. I'm like, yeah, that totally speaks to the way I want to do it.
Yeah. We have to do a show with Gareth about that stuff because visiting him down at Metropolis was one of the most incredible studio experiences I've ever had. He said, I've got some mixes for you to have a listen to. And I thought, cool. And then he started these, I don't know what the speakers are he had in the studio, but everything that we were using as plugins, he had the real things. And he said, check this out. And he whipped it up and it's like far out. It was just awesome. So, yeah, let's get him in and we'll work out something to do. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll totally do that. George Skelly brings up the pertinent point and says, would you not spend at least half a day pretending to be a 1950s switchboard operator if you had a patch bay?
Yeah, I used to put you through.
Alton Mouldings. Just putting you through. I'm sorry, Mr. Frenchin. He is indisposed.
Ooh.
Daniel R. I'm a clinical psychologist. PhD retired, who loves TPS and appreciates your attention to the psychological factors associated with guitar playing and living our best lives. Thank you, Daniel. That's kind of you to say. I wonder what you think of the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Wonder what you think of that.
I'm listening to it at the moment.
Whether you think it's just a load of pap or whether you think it's good.
I'm listening to it at the moment. It's a bit dry.
It's really dry.
Yeah.
With no disrespect, Daniel, it's psychology, which is cognitive stuff.
Okay. So dry.
Well, yeah, it's science, isn't it? Maths and science and experiments and
Yeah.
stuff.
The experiments, we were talking about the experiments and stuff is fascinating.
But how far in are you?
I'm only like half an hour in.
Okay, so have you got to the bit where he goes fairly deep on System 1 and System 2?
No.
Okay, that's where it gets interesting.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah. That's where it really gets interesting. And
I'll
again,
carry on.
Daniel, I'd be interested in your... there's some terms that I've taken from that particular book, which I've taken to be normal and true, but it then dawned on me that maybe this is just one interpretation, and it might be a very narrow interpretation, but it makes a lot of sense to me, System 1 and System 2, whether they're in widespread use. System 1 being your stuff that's just unconscious and instant, so you don't have to think about at all. You just know because A, you might be pre-programmed to know it, or B, you might have learned it over the last however many years. But if I hold this up, you know it's a glass. You don't need to recall that from any memory. You can see there's a liquid in there, which is a drink. You then start to make all sorts of predictions and well, it's called heuristics, right? Heuristic is a psychological, cognitive shortcut that makes decisions that you're
Basically like the rule of thumb. That's what he says.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of stuff that happens that informs you in some way that you don't have to be part of. So I hold this up, and you know it's a glass. You don't have to go, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then in addition to that, you're going, well, what I know now is he's going to probably drink from that.
Okay.
That's, yeah. Anyway, all the instant stuff. System 2 is where you say what's 17 times 24, and you have to think about it. And that's where your System 2. And I'm interested to know if System 1 and System 2 are kind of recognised terms in wider psychology, or whether it's just in that field.
Okay.
I've heard it referred to as other things.
Right. It's a good name for a dual pedal. We have System 1 and System 2.
Yeah.
Don't know what that pedal will do.
And then a lot of people get sidetracked with which part of your brain it is. Like, is it the frontal cortex or the back bit? And that seems to be important information. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter where it happens. The fact is that it's happening. I'm on thin ice. I'll skate off. So, Dan, do you still use the Meris LVX, says Tone Dragon?
I have been working with that pedal for months, and there are some things that it does that are absolutely amazing. Whether or not it's things that I will use personally, I'm not quite sure, but we're going to use it on the show tomorrow. It's an astonishing thing, astonishing feat of engineering, I think, the LVX. The guys at Meris are just, they're really on their game. And yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. It goes on and off the board. There are things about it that I love. There are things about it that I struggle with.
We started off doing this because Dan was learning the LVX and I was learning the H90 from Eventide. And actually, the reason I got to G3 in the studio as outboard was because I've realised I can't use the H90 for guitar. It's too complicated. It changes the sound too much, and it's a flow inhibitor. I reckon I'd have to do 2 years on it,
right,
to be able to get it out.
Sure.
To transfer it to System 1, for want of a better discovery, to be able to use it in a guitar rig. Without, don't get me wrong, we could program in a couple reverbs and a couple of patches easy enough and use that no sweat. But actually using it creatively and fully, there's just too many barriers to entry, and it stops creativity stone dead for me. So what I thought was, maybe I just need to think about it differently, drop all that preconception and drop all that approach and go, okay, well, let's do it differently then. Let's hook it up on a bus and use it in that environment.
Okay. Because
then I think my brain would be more in the right place for it. Because when I'm doing that stuff, if I'm using plugins or outboard gear, or I'm perfectly happy using complex stuff because my brain is in a different place. If I've got to think about playing a guitar, and putting some sort of feeling over, it's got to be System 1.
Yeah, totally.
To use that terminology, I've got to be in a flow. If I'm not in a flow, it all stops, and that's why I can't use the H90.
Yeah.
And I started making the video explaining that, going, I just can't use this. And then I thought, no, that's not right. Let's think about it differently. Try it in a different environment and see if the interface could become more familiar with one's brain. I am choking.
Don't choke. You okay?
Ooh. That's a tickly. In a different place. Oh, I'm gonna have to go outside and Bob Fleming.
Okay?
I'm not choking.
No, you got water in your eyes though.
I've got like a hair or something on the back of my throat.
Okay.
Do you think it might help you with the LVX?
So, yeah, possibly. So the LVX, when I first got that, I thought this could do everything I need from a delay pedal. Oh, heavens. So I plugged it. That was very good.
Did you like
That's very good.
A bit Bob Fleming, wasn't it?
Very good.
Hello there, my loves. Today we're going to be talking about fly fishing.
So my experience with the LVX was...
I can't rub my eyes, I've got my contacts in.
Oh, how are they going?
Hey? Fine.
I'm over here.
Yeah, sorry, that was a visual audio gag, wasn't it? Sorry, LVX.
Yeah, I plugged it in and I had it plugged in stereo and was like, it's amazing. And what it can do, it's basically like got all the Meris pedals in one. It's like, remember when Strymon brought out the timeline and they'd had all the other delays before, but then they brought out the timeline and basically had them all in. The LVX is a little bit like that it's got pitch shifting in it and modulation and but how deep you can go down in that rabbit hole with them is just incredible. And the way that you can apply them to different sides. And anyway, so I started going through just presets and hearing the ambient stuff that it can do is outrageous.
Yeah.
Like for me, I remember when I first got the hologram, and I was listening to what that was doing. It's like, it was great. And then the LVX is like the hologram, but on a whole other level because it does the ambient thing so well, but in so many different ways. Whereas the granular delay thing of the hologram, which is amazing and just sounds fantastic, but it has that sound, it sort of stamps that sound on everything, as you would expect. But where I struggled with the LVX, and I think where a lot of people struggle with the LVX, when they said, I just want a really simple delay.
Yeah.
And then I was going and turning things off and just to get back to just something really simple and it's there, but where the LVX shines is all the filtering and the sequence of stuff, and like it's so full on. Again, I've been chipping away at it for months. But yeah, so I found a place where it absolutely shines. It's just whether or not I can connect with the simpler sounds that I need from any delay pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an interesting point about product development in general there. Rewind, mid-70s, single sound effects start appearing. Late 70s, compact pedal revolution. You got a phaser, a chorus, a overdrive, a fuzz, whatever. 80s, we start seeing multi-effects. Boss ME5 comes along, some other stuff. 90s, we start getting into really serious digital technology. Chips more powerful, smaller. 2000, fast forward 20 years, here we are. Computers, really powerful computers with immense sound processing ability in a small box. The problem is, what the hell do you do with it?
Yeah.
Because it used to be,
this is what this does.
you turn it on, turn the knobs, the sound that ensues takes you in a direction.
Yeah. The rest is up to your creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's an interesting split coming there, or at least a change in direction for effects manufacturers, where the challenge is no longer how much can you pack into this thing, how many more features can you add. It's how do you make them relevant, usable, comprehensible to humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's no point having... And I guarantee that there's loads of people watching today who may have a complex machine of some description, whether it's something as simple as a Helix or a full-on computer full of plugins and all the rest of it. Be honest, how much of it do you actually use?
Yeah.
And for most people, I think it's, a small percentage.
Sure.
So how much stuff needs to be in there?
Yeah.
And I do wonder if... You see it with UA, right? UA came out with these brilliant pedals, the Gold and the Starlight and whatever the other one was, the Astra.
And they kept
And where are we now?
Yeah, yeah. They kept getting simpler and simpler and simpler.
Because everyone was like, I don't get it. So, and this sort of ties into what I was saying earlier about hanging out with Gareth the other day and some of this analog front end gear. You plug in, you get a noise going, you stick a mic in front of it, and you start making noise, and you're not bound by what preset should I use, what parameters should I use this delay engine or that one. you're making noise. Might be that different people react in different ways. I know that I react very badly to that because I get completely sidetracked, and it's like, no, give me a sound,
Yeah.
and I'll use that sound, which might be 0.5% of
Yeah.
what the H90 can do.
I don't know if this will come across using these mics, but let's have a go, shall we? So my my niece, Isabel Steinhardt in Australia, was doing a production, and they were using in rehearsals the intro to Barracuda.
Yeah.
But when it came to actually putting the production on, they said, "Oh, you can't use that." And so, in a panic, she says, "Uncle Dan, I need something that sounds a bit like Barracuda that I can use for this show, and it's, I need it tomorrow. Can you help?" And I went, "Yep, totally." And so I went into my little home studio, and I don't know if this will come across, but let's see. This is what I recorded. Right, so it goes on.
Awesome. Double guitars.
It's
Or
SG on one side, Jag on the left, SG on the right.
awesome.
Right. It took me exactly 2 minutes to get that guitar sound. I had the Marshall, the Fender bass breaker out into the ISO cab. I simply went, okay, I've got to do this in I've got half an hour.
That's the best way.
And I went in and I plugged it in. I was like, and I just went, and the sound was there. I wasn't going, okay, well now, what cab should I use? And obviously guys are going to have their, who know that gear are going to have their preferences and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But for me, I just there's a mic on a speaker, there's an amp.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
Yeah. And
I just went, ring, and it was it's amazing.
Yeah, it could be a straight familiarity thing, couldn't it?
It could, and it absolutely could.
If you're digital native, as it were. So I've got 30 years putting mics on speakers, and I know what happens when you do that. So that has become, to use a previous term, a System 1 operation in many respects. You're comfortable. You've got no cognitive stress going on. It's just everything is as normal. Now, it might be that if you've grown up using modelers or digital gear or whatever, first guitar sound you ever had was plugged into your laptop using GarageBand, then that approach would be completely alien to you, and you would have all the cognitive stress and the crap that we have the other way around. So it could just be a simple fact of time in. I rather suspect it is a simple fact of time in.
Sure. But I think, for me, there's still a reason why, loads of Nashville session pros have got rooms with amps and
anyone who makes good sounding music.
Well, yeah. So
great sounding music, should I say?
But it. So I. That was, and thanks everyone. I called that the angry fish. But that's such a massive thing for me. If I'm ever going to go and do something and record something, it's got to be plug and go. And I think I'm still using a DAW. I'm using Logic, and I've got the ISO cabs in the room next door. And I've got to put it into the computer, but an SM57 straight in, boom.
Happy days.
And I don't have to. There's no messing around with it after that.
No, there's a very minimal amount of fixing required.
Just
we want to say hello to Mary Spender, who is on.
Oh,
Mary, haven't
hi,
seen
Mary.
or heard from you in ages. Hope you're doing very well. You've said, "Oh, hello, handsome chaps." You must be. I don't know if you're plugged into Tom Bookovac's channel instead of us, but nice to hear from you. I'm just going to go and check on the dog, Dan.
Okay.
Perhaps I could read out the next super chat, and she may need a wee wee.
Okay.
New pedal day, says Sam Colson.
Oh, lovely.
I got G3. Very excited to get deep into the MIDI menus on this one. Thanks to everyone at the Gig Rig for making such an amazing bit of gear.
Oh, thank you, mate. You're so welcome. I'm so pleased.
Cool.
What's his name? Sam?
Sam Colson.
So, Sam, there's either...
Just give me a sec, Dan.
No worries. Either this week or next week, there will be the phase 1 of the web editor that we're launching. So you'll be able to just go on your... anything that has Google Chrome on it and connect via Bluetooth to your pedal board and do all the names of all your presets and all of your MIDI stuff per preset. So it's super simple. And that's phase 1, and then phase 2 will be the audio, and we're working on that now. But yeah, that's awesome, mate. Thank you so much. John O'Neill says I should have called that bit Barramundi. That is, I wish I had a thought of that, John. That is brilliant.
She's fine. She's sleeping.
Oh, good.
Well, she was sleeping till I woke her up. I thought I heard her banging on the door, but it was probably...
Crimsel FPV says, hello from the States. First time catching the show live. I love TPS. Cheers, mate. That's very kind. Thank you.
Whit Anderson says, greetings from the land of dysfunctional government.
G'day, mate.
Has something happened that I wasn't aware of?
He could be talking about anywhere,
any country. Yeah, any country. Let's not be partisan about it. Hypothetically, if you were to have some unplanned vacation and you could focus on a few aspects of your guitar playing, what would they be? Much love from Woo.
Someone posted a clip. Josh Smith posted a clip of his mate playing jazz in a club. And every time I see an extraordinary jazz guitar player, I just think I just need to... I find it so inspiring. So I'll always just be changes and phrasing and
harmony
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I just love it. Johnny, right? With Johnny Marr the other day, and he's playing something like really simple, and it's the melodies that just fall out of the guy's hands. It's like, how does that? It's incredible.
It is incredible, and it's a precursor to what I will say, which will, on the face of it, sound like a remarkably arrogant statement. I don't want to get any better at playing the guitar. I got too good already.
Come on.
Which is bullshit, by the way. But the point I'm trying to make is I want to spend more time playing the guitar rather than wanting to be better at playing the guitar.
Oh, I like that.
Hanging out with Gareth and Johnny and Stephen Wilson and whoever else we've had on the show just recently, Mike Venart, Noel, is slowly hammering this peg into my head that's saying, make music.
Yeah.
Stop playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And all that stuff that I care about, like trying to play fast and clean and all of that, it doesn't matter at all in the kind of music I want to make.
Right.
It's not required.
Right.
Because if you did that, it would be completely out of place.
Pretty cool, though.
No, honestly, mate, I kind of, I love, don't get me wrong, I love, I love it. I love the sound of it, and I like seeing people that do it, and I have great respect for anyone that can do it. But it's not what I want to do. Gareth played me some stuff, and I was listening to the kick drum going, that's the best kick drum I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And he plays this, he might just play a part, right? So he does very strict, quite often only ever two guitars, and one might be sort of going...
But does he do it with a 61 Strat into a Keeley modded tube screamer? That is my question.
And then the other guitar might be going... or something like that requires no great facility, and yet in the track with the right sound.
Yeah, totally. But it requires touch and timing.
Oh yeah, and all of that stuff. All of that stuff that's important you pick up.
Yeah, and that's for me, right? That stuff gets better. Like the more you play songs and the more you want to, the more you get into the harmony and but actually play through that stuff, then that stuff also gets better.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not a worthy excursion or pursuit for someone who's interested in it. You got to do what you're interested in. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm interested in
making music.
Yeah, because when I hear music that I love, same as everyone watching this, I hope, and same as you, I feel something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
me feel something when people play.
The world changes.
Yeah.
And your appreciation of everything changes, and but trying to like do something that's not authentically what I want to do is folly.
Tim Lurch has just, of course, comes out with an absolute corker. Restraint is a facility. Tim, you're amazing, mate. And I hope you're awesome, buddy.
Let it also not be said, or let it also be said that the two are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, sure.
Right? They're not. It's not. It's a false dichotomy to suggest that they are. But anyway, it's just to make the point, really, Whit, that
Woo.
I genuinely don't want to improve my guitar playing. I would like to improve my music making.
Yeah.
Which might sound very lofty, and but I'm going to be 50 in March. I've never made a record.
Yeah, I turned 52 a couple of weeks ago.
You've made a couple of records.
I have.
Yeah. So, it's ridiculous. Not that I'm hung up on that, but I'm saying rather than... I just need to do it.
Yeah, you do.
I just need to do more music.
Yeah.
And everything needs to be in the service of music. And I don't know why it's taken me so long for that penny to drop.
Yeah. I think... How do I express this?
I'm too worried about flipping guitar pedals down.
No, I think you have the highest standards, and you won't do anything unless you know that it's going to be nailed. I think one of the things, because when you write a song, it's fantastic, but you're so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
When you do that stuff.
Well, that's all got to go.
Yeah, it's all got to go.
Yeah.
Because you're so good at it.
You just got to do it and finish it. And that's, sorry, rather long point, but coming back to the point about hanging out with people like all the people we just mentioned, they have the courage to finish it.
Yeah.
We do talk about that in the Johnny
John
Marr.
Master, yeah. That was really interesting.
You come up with something that you might think is not worth anything or too derivative or whatever it might be, but they've got the courage to finish it, see it through.
Yeah.
And that, I think we can tie ourselves up in knots, not seeing things through because we want it to be perfect or it doesn't have as many chords in it as we think it should have.
Yeah. Jacob Backer says, yes, Dan, what about your record? Sorry if I sound like a conscious cricket. Yeah, so it's done. Paul Stacey's coming up in a couple of weeks to mix it. And then I'm going to film that, and I'm going to film the mastering process. But then I'm going to film something that is, what the hell do I do with it now that it's done? Because I think that is the thing that stops most people. It's like, yeah, I can, especially with today's technology, anyone can record stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But what do you do with it when it's done? And for me, it's been... It's been a question that's like, well, I really like, there's 4 tunes on it, and I really like them. They're great, and they're weird, and they're, but it's been really fun. It's been a journey. What's been the hardest thing for me is doing vocals.
Yeah.
Is singing at home.
You can't do it on your own.
It's so hard.
I've said it to you so many times, just come in here and we'll do them, because you cannot do, I don't think you can do vocals on your own in any sense.
It's very tricky. But then that's the question. What do you do when it's done? And we'll talk to Paul about it. Man, I know I know you've heard Paul play at Lottie's recently. He's on fire at the moment.
Yeah,
His playing is just so on fire. And another guy we'll have to get on, an amazing producer, astonishing guitar player, and he's a really good friend to us. And so yeah, he's very graciously offered to mix these tunes, and because I can't, it's really interesting, right? Well, I think it's interesting. I said to Paul, right, and Paul's he's mixed albums for Black Crows and he's like really accomplished producer. And he's been Noel's producer for 25 years. And the amount of knowledge, and I glean a little bit from watching you work and do the audio. It's like I've got no idea where I'd even start, even just looking at our vocals and how that works. But talking to Paul about producing, and I'm au fait with lots of stuff in the music world and electronics and that sort of stuff. Hearing Paul talk about producing is like, it's like me saying, teach me how to speak French in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It is a vast world of stuff.
I think you see it that way. So what you see is a need for extensive knowledge, theoretical, practical, systems and things you must understand, a bit like in order to understand electronics, you'd need to read an electronics handbook.
Sure.
What's dawning on me about music in recent years is that it's not that complex.
Well, music isn't, but
recording isn't.
Producing?
No.
Really?
Can you hear?
About 7:20.
If you can hear and you don't have a load of psychological hurdle between the sound you're making and the sound that ends up being recorded, it's going to sound fine. Good players, good sounds.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So then we're back to the H90, right? Which reverb algorithm should I use?
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you get it in a room? Why don't you get this? You know more about guitar sound than most people on the planet.
It's kind.
Why are you worrying about it?
Yeah, well,
in the computer.
That's really interesting.
Good drummer.
Here's the thing, but yeah,
decent kit.
But here's the thing, right? When I start to mix, no matter what I do, it sounds like a demo.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy and everyone can just do it tomorrow. What I'm saying is, and goodness me, my mixes aren't.
Yeah, but see,
compared to
your mixes are fantastic.
And if we compare ourselves, I think the point I'm trying to make is, I think there's probably a load of psychological stuff that's in the way of you just trusting yourself.
Yeah.
So you just boot that out. And go, actually, I don't really need to understand that. I know that I've got these guitars, I've got this bass, I've got that drums, and maybe there's some stuff about making sure the kick drum isn't going all over the bass and all that. That's like 10 minutes on Google to learn that stuff to a acceptable enough standard. But then you just listen.
Yeah.
And you listen with fresh ears and you go, what do I like about this? What do I not like about this? And then if you're listening for more than half an hour, you stop and you come back to it tomorrow or whatever. But
okay.
I honestly think that a bit like the trouble that maybe you and I have with complex digital effects getting in the way of us playing guitar, all the crap that you put in between the sound that you make and the sound in that computer gets in the way. And it's like, actually, listening to Gareth's stuff, it's like, you don't need it.
Right.
It's just a good sound at source.
Yeah, okay.
Now,
I guess when you think of those...
he does have a couple of million quid's worth of amazing gear in between, but...
Yeah. It's such a contradiction for me, because when I started making this vlog 3 years ago, it was about just use whatever you've got and record something and just do it. So maybe I've been too wrapped up. Maybe there's too much ego involved well, there'd be definitely ego involved.
Yeah.
You know, the reason I'm not happy with the vocals is because it's all ego. And I it's like, oh, okay, that's really interesting that I'm, because I think I may never do this again. You know, this will be, I've never done a solo thing before.
What both of us need to do is go, I'm going to do it again next month and let it go.
Right.
And then do it again the month after and let it go. And then do it again the month after and let it go. Because that's what artists do,
Yeah.
don't they? They don't labour over it. Well, unless you're Eric Johnson and a few others that we could mention. Many artists are prolific.
Sure.
And they give birth to it and then they boot it out.
That was a super inspiring thing about hanging out with Johnny for the day, because he's such a prolific songwriter, and he'll start something and go, well, yeah, there's an idea there, and then he'll work on it and work on it and work on it, and bang,
Yeah.
out comes this amazing thing.
Yeah. RP2784 says, you can't undermine the ability of a really good producer. No, and I'm certainly not trying to do that. Dan and I know a few immensely gifted, experienced producers, and of course their work is unsurpassed, and their skill and their commitment and all of that is, I'm not saying that we can all achieve that tomorrow. I'm not saying that at all. Certainly don't want to undermine anyone's work. I am saying that there's a load of crap that we put on ourselves. We could do much better work if we just got rid of the middleman a bit more regularly, is what I'm trying to say. Because
I'm sat there going, why does all my stuff when I try makes it sound like crap? When if I change my attitude about it and just went, well, that is what it is, and I've done the best that I can possibly do with that, and I think someone has said here, where was it, that Oliver Hutton says we are our own worst critic, and it's absolutely true. We're so
well, apart from me, I'd be a much worse critic than.
But it's so true. We're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's called playing.
Well, and then that's the ego part, because that's the fear of being disliked.
There you go.
Because you want to make this stuff that you get adulation for.
Yeah.
And the fear of not getting that is what stops you. Anyway, that's complex. That is psychology.
Eagle Ray Rob says, there is no try. Very good.
Yeah, God, that's so true.
Yeah, especially for the Australian rugby team last week. There is no try.
Right. What's
they just didn't score enough tries.
Right. Is there some competition?
Apparently, there's a World Cup going
on.
Oh,
okay.
And there you go.
For those of you who didn't get Eagle Ray Rob's quote, it's by the noted philosopher Yoda, and it says, I think it's do or do not, there is no try.
Indeed.
Is that right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
You do have to say it in a silly voice.
I love Star Trek. I always say that with Dan because he knows I'm not a fan of sci-fi.
That's great. That's great.
But I'm sure it's been said in many philosophical texts, and you're totally right, Rob. It's one of my favourite quotes ever. That. Legends, thanks for all you do. Oh no, David Rustad. Hey David.
Hey David.
He says, for a more everyday application of the Caroline reverb, which we had on Friday's show, it is a killer spring sound. Taps become drips.
Ooh, yeah.
Bright switch helps. So does that preamp gain.
Cool.
We really liked it. We're talking about shows to do tomorrow, and one of the things, I thought we'd just do all the Caroline pedals because we've never had them on before.
Okay. It'll be fun.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that might be Rosie.
I can hear a Rosie.
Might need a wee. Legends, thanks for all you do. I'm waiting on a UAFX Golden Reverb to arrive. Thoughts given the following. PRS HDRX20, Epiphone Les Paul 50s, MXR carbon copy, and a Tumnus.
Yeah, great. Stick
it at the end of that chain. There's no effects loop on the HDRX20, so if you're running gain in the HDRX, if you're getting it to overdrive, your reverb is going to sound a little bit gritty and dirty.
But in itself can be very, very cool.
Could be a wonderful thing, yeah. But if you're using it cleanish with your Tumnus for overdrive, should be great. Not at all controversial, and Dan showed me this. I really like a bit of reverb going into an amp that's just starting to overdrive. I really, really like it. I was going to check on the dog again. Yeah.
Well, I remember, and I mentioned it on the show with Stephen Wilson, I did a rig for him, and he had the Strymon Timeline and Big Sky. And I thought, okay, well, we'll need an effects loop and go in and out. And he was using a Bagcat at the time, and I didn't know what the level was coming out of the preamp. And he was like, no, I just want to go straight in the front. And I said, yeah, but you're getting all your overdrive from your amp. He says, yep. And I love sticking reverb and delay into an overdriven amp. And it was the first time I'd heard it used with such an overdriven amp. And anyone that's gone to see Stephen live, and his guitar sounds are always epic. And it can work brilliantly, but it is a sound that you have to play. It becomes very dynamic. So it reacts so much to how you hit the strings. And but if you're just using the amplifier sort of on the edge, then great. Where you might struggle when you kick the Tumnus on and you're boosting into the amplifier to get the gain, it might be that you're pushing the amplifier into more distortion, and then it might get a bit hairy. But honestly, try it out, because it just as well might be amazing. There are loads of people who, the standard is gain stages and then delays and reverbs. But yeah, there are people who use that to great effect. And don't forget, especially if you're playing at volume and you've got the output section of your amplifier working, then when the signal comes back in from the preamp into the power amp, then it's distorting anyway. So just try it out. The great thing about the UA stuff, those the reverbs that are in those pedals are so good. Yes, pretty girl, come on, come and see me. Yes, good girl, good girl. Feel better? Is that better? Yeah. Yeah, I know. I love you too. I love you too. Miss me? Yeah. Fun.
David Rustad says, also loving the new format, but keep them long. We could so do that. As you know, Dan and I could go on for hours about the simplest things, but we want to try the shorter formats for some of them just to see if people like it or not. And probably be back to doing long form tangent filled videos. We're not going to stop doing the long form tangent filled videos. Fridays will always be that, but maybe some other stuff that's a bit more accessible to encourage more people into the TPS fold.
Yeah,
because it is a bit daunting, isn't it? Two middle-aged men going on for an hour and 20 minutes about guitar pedals.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
David Cyril says, does anyone get clock noise in your effects loop from LVX or H90? If so, how to minimize it? David, it'll be your power. Just make sure that everything's isolated. Also, especially if you're running stereo and you're doing the 4-cable method, depending on the amplifier, some amplifiers don't like having extra connections to earth within the amplifier. So if you've got a 4-cable method going back to your board, you're connecting the front panel of the amplifier, the earth of the front panel, to the earth of the rear panel. So sometimes you might need to isolate the signal going in, especially with the higher gain amplifiers. But yeah, check those things out. It all comes down to isolation, because the LVX and the H90, they're very quiet. So if you're getting any clock noise, it'll be something coming from power. Also, check lights. If you've got monitors, dimmer switches, anything that's pushing digital stuff on the ground, that can be an issue.
Shawnee Guitar says, knowing you guys are keen on the Reunion Blues gig bags, I'm torn between that and mono. Any persuading thoughts? One of the reasons we like Reunion Blues is because my mate Damien used to do them.
Yeah.
And we love Damien.
We do love Damien.
And they are really nice bags. The ones that we use are, I can't remember which series they are. What I like about them, which is what I don't like about mono bags, is they are very discreet. They're super plain.
Yeah.
They don't look like kids' lunchboxes. And they're just classy, plenty of protection, everything you need, and nothing you don't. The thing that really annoys me about them is the straps are just a bit too high, or at least they leave the guitar a bit too high.
Okay.
So I always catch a door frame when I go through with it.
Right.
Mono, exceptional reputation for quality, durability, and all that. They have all the bells and whistles, and they do look a bit like trainers, I think.
Okay.
They're very sort of flashy design, and you might like that.
But they're not understated.
I prefer a bit more understatement in my gig bag.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Rose?
I'm going to bring out
I know you're bored, but that's just the nature of it. It's not my fault you were born a spaniel. You just want a job to do, don't you? She just wants a job to do. Normally she's with Catherine, obviously, but Catherine's not here, so she's going, go on, give me a job to do. Give me a job to do.
let's go out and chase some sheep.
No, let's not do that. We did chase some pheasants this morning. You enjoyed that, didn't you, Rose? Wait. Yeah, so I would say price is a factor. Number of external pockets. The on the gig bags that Dan and I have from Reunion Blues, there aren't that many external pockets. So there's like one that's about that yay big for, I don't know, get sheets of A4 paper is that kind of size, and then whatever's that thick, you can get a pedal in there, but I don't know, whatever. The monos tend to have more extensive external pockets. So, yeah, and loads of people really love monos.
Cool.
Yeah. Hope that helps.
This is a tangent, but I saw. Did you know that the captain and Danish Peter and
yeah, I saw
America.
That America.
Yeah. Well, we've got young Mr. Andy Wood coming in soon for a chat.
Oh yeah,
which is going to be really fun.
That's this month, isn't it?
Yep, and he's invited us over next year to Nashville. I really want to go. And he's going to hook us up with all the Nashville dudes. We want to do a country music special.
We've got to find a production company.
Okay.
I always have a little conniption when.
Well, he's got production people.
Okay. All right. If there's production,
we'll do it.
I can't be travelling with cameras and stuff.
No. Okay.
Just not. I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay.
It's too stressful.
Okay.
So that's really grumpy, isn't it?
It's all right.
But we're used to a certain thing here, and there's loads of gear, and it's quite complex. And the whole run and gun thing, like when we did Knoll, we had a flipping E-class Merc full to the gunnels of gear.
Yep.
You can't fly with that.
No, you can't.
So,
and if we're going to go all that way,
yeah, maybe we should hire the people Rick Beato uses. He gets pretty good results.
We'll call Rick and say, "Hey, man."
Yeah, Rick can afford it. That's the other difference between us and him. But yeah, if we can get some production help, I'm on for it.
Okay.
I'd like to have a week's worth of guitar lessons.
Well, I mean, that's what I want to go to Nashville for. So Andy does a thing every year called Woodshed, and he has like the most amazing guitar players. Like this year was Eric Johnson and Andy Timmons, and
it looked really serious.
It was amazing. It would have been great to go. But
I'd like to just go rather than have to do any work.
No, but I think it'd be. I am so fascinated by the authentic country guys and the sound they get. And I would love to sit down with some of those dudes and just say, teach me, shake me, mold me.
I've got a theory about that we could test. I don't think you'll find them anymore. I don't think they're there anymore.
Okay, well, let's test. Rosie, we'll test them.
I think that stopped in Nashville a long time ago.
Okay.
I think what you would find is really, really busy, fast sessions of people wheeling in, making pretty commercial music and wheeling out again.
Rosie agrees.
Please,
Loudly.
please no. If it would be nice to be proved wrong on that, actually.
Yeah.
But I would want to know before we got there.
Well, we'll talk to Andy about it when he comes over.
Yeah.
Have you had him play mandolin?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Owen Barry mandolin story, getting advice from Andy Wood, where he's about to go on tour with the Dixie Chicks, and they say, "Can you play mandolin?"
He says yes.
He says yes.
He says this would be
On the phone
breeze.
to Andy Wood, I need some mandolin.
Come on, you. Come have a
mandolin.
couple.
Sorry, the Chicks, not the Dixie
Chicks.
Chicks. They're
Come
the
on.
Chicks.
Come on. Come on.
Right.
Come on.
It won't be much. It won't be too much longer, Rosie.
Come on, darling. Up, up. Rosie, cuddle. Come on.
Check out Sophie Lloyd's videos of rock standards on her YouTube channel, says Mike2203. Sophie Lloyd. Amazing. Never came across her work before. Yep, I don't know Sophie Lloyd. So please check out Sophie Lloyd.
I'm
Do you know
aware of her
Sophie
work.
Lloyd?
Yeah, she's great.
Cool. Thanks for that, Mike. Perilous Temple, so glad to be finally here with you on a Monday. I've had a work schedule issue every Monday for months. Love everything you're doing and totally dug Friday's new format. Love from Mississippi.
Thank you, buddy.
Love to Mississippi. Nice to hear from you.
1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi.
Frank Schuler, what are your favourite pedal platform amps? Top 3. And did you keep the 12 AY7 or EL84s in the Hot Rod Deluxe?
Okay. I love my old AC30. I'm going to put the AC30 and the matches together for one, because they're similar but different. Actually, but if I had to just use one of those amps, the AC30 as a pedal platform is extraordinary.
Which is not the answer you were expecting.
No, and don't get me wrong, the Matches is my dream amp and I love it, but the AC30 is just, I don't know, there's got something about it. Really loving the Hamstead again as a pedal platform. It's so open and clean, and I can get it working to a point where things just sound really great in it. I love the reverb in it as well. It's a spring reverb, but it sort of sounds bigger and sort of more studio-like. I really love that. And number 3 would be the High Watt. Oh, actually, yeah, again, High Watt and Wallace, but the High Watt, when that thing's going, it's not going, that thing's just amazing.
Yeah, number 1 for me is my 2-Rock. I've said it before and I'll say it again.
2 and 3 for you as well, wouldn't it?
Best guitar amp I've ever heard for my own ears that I enjoy. I will happily use anything here. That old Bassman 70 is magic.
Incredible.
1978 Bassman 70 is properly magic, and you can pick them up left, right, and centre. Obviously, the High Watt that Dan said. I wouldn't go for anything Voxy. It's not my thing. I can't get enough headroom out of them. Victory V140, really love that. But you know what? Sensible. I would take a Landau 212 DeVille any day of the week.
Yep.
Or any 212 DeVille for that matter.
Yeah.
Hot Rod DeVille. Preferred slightly to the Deluxe, just sounds a bit bigger and a bit more open. Deluxe reverb, as long as the gig's doesn't have to be too loud.
We're nearly done.
Yeah, like almost any Fender amp, I would say.
Yeah.
And any Fender derived amp. I'm really happy with that. We've got a 212 Tweed Bassman, which is kind of unusual.
Come here. Come on.
That as well. So yeah, as long as it's got a bit of headroom, I really love amps that use 6L6 power tubes. Not necessarily because I like the sound of 6L6s, but just because the way those amps tend to be configured.
Your boogies had 6L6s in them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, they did. Yes, they did have 6L6s.
So all the you're getting the hugs, Dan.
Well,
Not everyone gets the hugs, mate.
get a hug.
Only the UPS guy gets the hugs.
Oh, baby girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
She's
you
like,
too.
please take me home, Dan, because it's dinner time,
I know, darling.
and you know maybe
We're
there'll
nearly
be
there. We're nearly there.
all sorts of words that I can't say because they'll trigger her. Bless you, Rosie.
You've been so good. You've been so
Anyway,
good.
so yeah, if I had to choose a mid-price sensible pedal platform amp tomorrow, it would be a Fender Hot Rod DeVille.
Nice.
Even better, the Landau version.
Yeah, love those.
Yeah.
What speakers do they have in them? I think one of the things he's done as he's changed is put something like
V-type maybe or something like that.
Right.
I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know.
You okay?
Sean Jeremilatos. Hello, Sean. Nice to hear from you as always. He says, hello, Sean G here. Did you ever have challenges setting delay repeats and levels when you're using a wide range of gain and volume levels? Sometimes it's a little too much when quiet or too much when it's loud. Too little and too much depending on loud and quiet. Yes, all the time. And the reason for that is...
You keep going. Keep going.
So what happens is, let's say you're using an amp that's relatively clean or just on the edge, and you're using an overdrive pedal or a boost or something in front of the delay. When you turn on your overdrive pedal or the delay, it boosts everything, right? So it also boosts the level of the repeats. It's one reason why our lovely friend Andy Timmons uses an expression pedal on the effect level of his delay pedal. So depending on what's hitting the front of that, or depending whether he wants those repeats to sit out of the way or be more prominent, he has the effect level, the delay effect level on an expression pedal, which means he can put it up and down. Similarly, if that's not the issue, and the issue is simply that because the amp's louder, the delay repeats seem too prominent, exactly the same deal. It might also be that the front end of your amp is limiting, which is going to make the delays a bit more quieter, or it might be wide open, so they're really ringing out true. Yet another reason why Dan and I both like pedals with visible knobs on, not menus, because it's then as simple as just bending down, turning that effect level down a bit. Boss DD200, DD500, as good, well-priced, excellent all-rounders, both have that functionality off the top, including a tone knob, which is really, really brilliant, because turning down the tone of the repeats can really make them sit back as well. So yeah, we would always advocate having at least the mix knob, a delay level knob or a mix knob on the top of the pedal, so that if that does happen, you can just bend down and turn it down. Might surprise you to learn, if I was using two of my favourite delay pedals, for example, Boss DD200, I'll happily use this all day long, and Belly Pop Deluxe, two very famous delay pedals and well used. I'll show you where I have the effect level. Probably about there on the DD200, and if you can't see that, it's basically below 9 o'clock. And on the Belly Pop Deluxe, I have it. I had to put the numbers on, legends over it, because I can't see it.
Good girl.
You can see where the level is. It's like right down there.
Good girl.
Almost off. And I think that can be counterintuitive, because we think, oh, I've spent all this money on a delay pedal. I at least want to have the repeats up like halfway. Oh, Rose.
Well caught.
So yeah, okay, baby dog. We'll go home soon, won't we? We'll go. I know you're getting all. You need to just calm down. I know. You're bored. You're probably a bit hungry, even though you've had a lovely lamb rib. I know. So yeah, absolutely. If you're really struggling with it and your delay pedal has the ability to do it, would totally suggest an expression pedal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you just open the front door, Dan?
Yes.
She might want to wee.
Well done.
Go on, go with Dan. Where's Dan? Rosie, where's Dan? Good girl. I hope that's of help, Sean, with apologies for the dog interruptions. Whether or not he knows the difference between feet and inches is not my problem, says Aaron Albusband. Dearest D&M, I hope you're both doing well. Why is a driveway a place we park, but a parkway? Oh, a driveway a place we park, but a parkway a place we drive. There we are. Eloquent as always, Aaron. Thank you for that. I don't think we have parkways in the UK. Steve Mass! Hello, Steve. He says, have you heard another guitar that nails the Strat tone, especially in the neck position? To me, if you want those specific tones, you need a Strat. Side note, I currently do not own a Strat. Yeah, so one thing Fender did was to develop the Fender Twisted Telly neck pickup, which has a slightly longer pole form and longer pole pieces and a deeper coil. That gets a bit closer to the sound of a Strat neck pickup, and there's other companies that do it as well. So basically the coil of the thing is deeper and that gets a bit closer. I've heard Jazz Masters actually do pretty good neck pickup sounds, but yeah, if Strat's a Strat, isn't it? Unless it's a Strat alike, in which case it will sound very Stratty. So I don't know, Silver Sky or any of the other million Strat copies out there. But yeah, it's a very specific thing, that Strat neck pickup sound. Some people would have it that it's only about the pickup, so you could put that pickup in any guitar, and as long as it's the same distance from the bridge, it would be the same sound. I disagree fundamentally. I think there's all kinds of overtones, note fundamentals, harmonics that happen as a result of the design of the thing. So yeah, some tellies get close with that deeper bobbin and coil design. Heard Jazz Masters get close. I rather suspect that could get close-ish, but then you've got the shorter scale. The mids are all different. Pop values, if they're very high, you're going to get more ice-picky highs. But yeah, Strat, got to be a Strat, hasn't it? I would say that. Paul Matulovic, hello Paul. He says, howdy gents. Is the vibrato mode in the Diamond Chorus the same as vibrato? Hoping to avoid those prices. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the vibrato mode in the Diamond... Yeah, actually, maybe Dan knows the answer to this. Paul Matulovic is on, Dan.
Oh, g'day, Paul.
And he has a question about the Diamond Halo Chorus.
Yes.
So, regular viewers will know that this Diamond Vibrato is one of Dan's favourite guitar pedals of all time.
Of all time.
Also one of Stephen Wilson's. So the question is, can that do the vibrato?
It can.
Because this does chorus and vibrato, right? This is a chorus.
Yeah, but there's also phaser in that.
In this?
Yeah. It's very, very nice.
Can it just do the vibrato?
I think so.
You've got a chorus mix.
Yeah.
But does that mean you can...
I'll try it. From memory, that doesn't sound like that. It sounds a bit different, but I'll give it a go. But I've heard, I mean, it's astonishing.
Does it do vibrato only though? That's our question.
Yeah.
You might need to dig out the manual,
I don't know.
Paul.
I'll check it out.
Because what we've got, look, so the reason the vibrato can do just vibrato,
Come on.
Actually, why can it just do vibrato? If you have
Because
the chorus knob to
mix.
0.
Yeah.
Okay. So by turning the chorus knob to 0, you get just vibrato. In this, you've got a chorus depth. So we want to know if that is dry and wet or just wet.
Okay, we'll have a play.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're amazing.
Oh, but there's a chorus mix. The manual hopefully will tell you. They haven't reintroduced this yet, have they? Hello, dog. Hello again. Rosie's got massive FOMO, which is a bit tiresome, Rose, to be honest. It's because you're a spoiled dog, isn't it? That's what it is. It's because you're a spoiled dog. A spoiled spaniel. You just want to be working, don't you? Bless you. Can you just give us 5 minutes? Not that you understand what that means.
Oh, yeah, Teddy. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Go on. Come on. Lie down. And Paul also says, I'm planning a visit to Anderton's in the summer. Any gear recommendations for a souvenir? Any American stuff you're curious about? Not at the moment. I think Dan and I have got a very, very... We're in this amazing position of getting sent lots of stuff all the time and not enough time to check it all out. And we're trying to figure out ways to do that. Yeah, my head is just so totally in recording gear at the moment. What to check out at Anderton's? I think go there and just drink it in, Paul.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, drink it in and have a nice time.
I know.
There's a lot to see.
Such a good girl.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's worth checking out. I guess you'll know it's stuff that's harder to come by in the US that you'll see there. Maybe we'll see you on the trip, Paul. It would be nice to catch up again. James Urquhart. No question, gentlemen. Just gratitude. We'll probably add a switchable master volume to the 65 Baseman today. Wish me luck.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good.
Well done.
I can see how that would work. For those of you who can't see, Dan is currently playing with the dog on the floor. No jiu-jitsu moves, Dan. She's only little.
Her ground game is rubbish.
Yeah. Steve Cassidy guitar. Hi, Steve. Hello, gents. Would you ever consider having Matt Bellamy from Muse on the show? He enjoys a pedal or two. Thanks again for shouting out my channel, Leg Ends.
He keeps calling and
I know.
keeps calling. It's a nightmare.
Of course we'd have Matt on. I don't think he's that keen on doing this kind of thing, though. So if anyone knows Matt or is in his camp or whatever and could persuade him to do it, we'd be totally up for it. Of course we would be up for it. Are you kidding?
What's this?
Akupasu says, my vintage spec Strat and board and 72 quad reverb
Oh, I had one of those. It was brilliant.
have never sounded this good. Thanks to Leg Ends.
Come on.
Mick, what are your thoughts about Fender 5762 pickups? It's been a long time since I've heard any, so...
Rosie? No. All right, come on then. Quick.
5762 pickups were what were in the first of the American vintage Strats, if I'm remembering that correctly, when they were called reissue, maybe they were called something like that. Before they changed anyway. Or maybe they were what was in my original... Yeah, they were probably what was in my original blue guitar. So when they changed it in 2012, they went to very specific eras. So there was a 65 Strat, a 50, I want to say a 59 Strat, maybe a 56, 59, which came in maple and rosewood, and a 65, which was rosewood. And then they changed to era-specific pickups. So Fender went to town on the detail on those guitars. Subsequently undid all that when the American original series came out. And I think they've switched back to... Anyway, before that, 5762 were in my blue guitar. I swapped them out. Swapped them out for all kinds of things. Seymour Duncan's. Oh, God, a whole load of videos about it. But yeah, I think they sound great. They sounded... a lot of my friends had those guitars. A guy called Chris Newman, good friend of mine from back in Cambridge days. He had a red one, candy apple red one with the original pickups. He always sounded immense. So, yeah. I'm a bit... How can I say this politely? I kind of got to the end of my pickup searching journey with Strats. Because it just... For every bit of improvement, there was something lost and vice versa. So I think, yeah. And I ended up getting an original old Strat, and having heard that, I can't unhear it. So that said, I've got a set by Stefan Klopman, the 60 set, which I really, really love. Stefan Klopman, Andreas Klopman. They're in my custom shop Strat at the moment, I think. Also a set of Ron Ellis 5060, which are flipping amazing. They go between the custom shop Strat and blue. I really love those. Fender Fat 60s, man. I mean, they're in loads of custom shop Strats for a reason. They sound wonderful, or they can sound wonderful. So yeah, Dan's telling the dog she's hilarious and crazy. It's been a while since I've heard any, but I rather suspect they're great, depends on the rest of your rig, doesn't it? Once you get down the rabbit hole on that, it can be long and unrewarding. Sergio Martinez. Hello, Sergio. He says, howdy, legends. I've recently fallen in love with brown-face fenders, specifically the Vibroverb. Any experience with these? Any pedal suggestions? Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Fender amps were tweed, right? Think of the tweed amps that you know from Fender, Bassman, Deluxe, all that. There then comes this period of transition where you get brown panels, so like a chocolate brown panel, brown Tolex, and also some cream Tolex. And then we get into the black panel, control panel amps with the silver front that we know and love. And that period of transition is really interesting because it's kind of a segue between tweed circuits and what we now come to accept as the mid-60s black panel circuits. So in some of those amps, you'll find the first harmonic tremolo, which is flipping amazing, in the Super and a couple of others, I think. Now then, I want to say Simon, who does filming for us sometimes, he just got a tweed Vibroverb that was modded with reverb, and that sounds unbelievable. Joey Landreth is a big fan of the brown panel Fender amps. It's kind of the whole harmonic trem story and part of how his 2-rock signature came to be. So yeah, they're awesome things. Real treat to hear one that's well kept and looked after. We don't see very many of them because they're pretty rare, especially in the UK. So lucky you. Hope you enjoy it. Rhino Jam. Dan? Yeah. Here's a question you have to answer.
Okay.
The question is from Rhino Jam. It's the last chat of this evening.
Okay.
And it is, if you had to pick a favourite mode,
Yes.
what would you pick and what song best uses it? I asked Dan because I have no idea.
Okay. So probably, I don't know. So a mode that I'm really loving at the moment is a mode called Lydian Dominant. So it's basically...
I think I went out with her once.
She was amazing. So it's a dominant mode, the 5th mode from the scale, but it has a sharp 4 in it. Could I possibly...
Rosie,
what's
down here?
Oh,
I should play with the dog.
Let me
What are we
see
doing
if
then?
I can...
What are we doing? Should we go gnomes?
All right.
Should we go gnomes? Want to go gnomes?
Okay.
What are we doing?
So, if I'm a Lydian Dominant, so it has, it starts off, it's the same as a dominant mode, which is, it's a major scale with a -7th, but then you move the, you flatten the 4th. So it's a mode of the melodic minor scale. Yeah, it's just a really nice
What song
thing.
uses it?
Oh, what song uses it? A song called "Dad Is Slowly Losing His Mind."
What's the mode that Yngwie Malmsteen always uses? Harmonic minor?
There's the harmonic minor, which is and then yeah, all that stuff.
That's mine.
Yeah. But there's so things like The Simpsons is a great example of a modal melody.
Eric Catterl has just said The Simpsons.
Yeah, which is
The
Lydian, which is yeah. Yeah, so that's the sharp 4 thing.
Jim Stanton says Dorian Santana.
Yeah, so the Dorian one is a minor scale of the major 6, so which is nice. Man, I haven't played this guitar for ages. Yeah, Phrygian. Yeah, it's like the modes are really helpful as a point of reference to know the different intervals, and then you stop thinking about I'm going to create a mode with this, and then it's more about the intervals.
Yeah.
So like that, Aeolian, which is a classic minor scale, and so there you go, and that's like a harmonic minor. So we're in G minor, but then major 3rd.
I just can't think. I can't think about it like that.
But you don't have to think about it like that. It's just like, okay, it's just what those intervals are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
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 And every time anyone consciously uses it, it always sounds like you're practicing.
Yeah, totally.
Always.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't learn it. I'm saying the mastery of it and getting across it and being able to use it musically is a task I can't comprehend.
Yeah.
And I have the utmost respect for anyone who can.
Yeah.
And does.
Yeah.
Because that's the 10,000 hours, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck. My favourite mode is going home and having some sort of meat feast. Let's see if we can get into that mode. Make sure the dog hasn't run off. Thank you for being here, everyone. Sorry it was a bit dog interrupted this week. Apologies for that. She's spoilt, is probably the truth of the matter. My reaction to that is, what's the point of having a pet and not spoiling it? Anyway, cool. Will be the show this Friday. We're not quite sure what it's going to be yet because we're filming it tomorrow. So it'll either be on digital delay. Dan wants to do a show on digital delays, taking in a bit of the Meris LVX, and also the new SD 3000 from Boss.
Yeah.
About why you might want to use a device like that and what you can get out of it and some of the benefits it can offer. And then the following week will be Sir Johnny of Marshire, assuming something catastrophic doesn't happen.
Yes.
And not really catastrophic, just, something in YouTube land.
Indeed.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you for being here. Let us then... Oh, lots of people saying don't apologise for the dog. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good. Right. We will see you Friday. Thanks for being here. Oh, we might stick out one of the short videos tomorrow if I can get it tagged and bagged in time.
Okay.
And do a thumbnail in time. Which will be either in fact, it will be the Noble Screamer. Can the Keeley Noble Screamer sound like Mick's favourite TS808?
Beautiful.
And a Noble's ODR1.
Beautiful.
Is that possible? Expect some E-flat Strat, 2 Roxon Deluxe reverbs.
So that's my E-flat.
And associated shenanigan. Okay, play us out, Dan. Thank you for being here. See you soon. beautiful. What do you call that?
It's in D minor, the saddest of all keys.